2025 Moto2 season roars into life at Circuito do Estoril with not one, but two races kicking off. What promises to be another thrilling year of intermediate class action. The 4.1 kilometer layout of Estoril with its mix of flowing corners, heavy braking zones, and that long, fast front straight is a true test of balance, bravery, and racecraft. It's a fitting venue to begin the title defense of Roberto Garcia, the returning champion, who claimed his very first Moto2 victory right here at Estoril last season, setting the tone for a breakout season that saw him rise to the top of the standings. The 2024 Moto2 season kicked off in Misano, where Alberto Sura made an early statement with a dominant win, while Roberto Garcia opened his campaign with a solid second place. Then came Estoril, and it was here that Garcia's title charge truly began. Mattia Casadei took victory in race 1 as he and Sura maintained their championship push, but in race 2 Garcia's claimed his first ever Moto2 victory, backing up a top 6 finish earlier in the day. In Catalonia, Dani Munoz stole the spotlight with a brilliant double victory. Garcia managed a podium and a DNF, leaving the championship finally poised. Portimao proved pivotal. Garcia delivered a perfect weekend with back-to-back wins, while Sura settled for 2 second places. A crash in Jerez momentarily halted Garcia's momentum, but neither Sura nor Casadei could capitalise, with Munoz adding a third win to his tally instead. Garcia bounced back in Aragon with another victory, and by the season finale back in Estoril, a 5th place finish was enough to seal the title. The final race saw Unai Oradre take his first Moto2 win as the curtain closed on a brilliantly competitive season, and we expect 2025 to be no different. 36 riders on the entry list as we look at them from their class photos taken on Saturday. 17 nationalities represented. Among those nationalities, of course, we have the usual suspects: Connor, Spain, Italy, France, USA, Germany, but we also have India, Australia, Norway, Poland, Mexico, Slovenia, Great Britain, Morocco, Qatar, Romania, Uruguay, and hopefully in the future, but not this round, South Korea. So, an extensive global list.
Absolutely, Chris. It feels like you're listing off a number of members of the United Nations there. Absolutely incredible. And I think that's one of the most attractive things about the Moto2 European Championship right now. We've got riders from all over the world, and the internationality of it is just incredible for everyone involved.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just looking at an atlas here and picking ones at random. But yeah, so welcome to the opening Moto2 race of the day. I am Chris Jordan, and joining me is my partner in crime for the weekend, Connor Doherty, who recently had some reasons to celebrate. It is his birthday weekend, and I couldn't imagine a better way to spend a birthday than watching bikes in the north of Portugal. For how many races do we have? 6 races today?
6 delightful races for me to welcome in my 33rd birthday. I didn't know whether I was going to admit that live or not.
But what a great way to spend it. I know I'd love to do it this way. But yeah, brilliant stuff. So Moto2 first up, not first up, ETC was first up. Brilliant race there. No spoilers here though. Moto2's first race of the day gets underway now, and let's hear from our pole sitter Francesco Mongiardo.
I'm really happy for these results. I worked a lot in the winter season, and it's amazing. And I say to thank you to my team and my crew chef and everything, mechanic, my personal trainer is unbelievable. Thank you. I expect something, you know, because I start in the pole position, and it's a good position for starting in a race. But it's not easy because the another riders are so fast, and I try tomorrow. I will try.
So pole position is a good place to start the race. Perhaps the understatement of the century from Francesco Mongiardo, but he is half right. that is only half the battle at best. He's got 17 laps now to back it up. So Mongiardo, first time pole sitter in this class. He hasn't been on the podium, the Italian rider. He came close, I think, in Misano last year. His personal best result was a P5 in Misano, and his previous best on the grid was actually that race. You had the pleasure of being there last season.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic from Mongiardo. He started from P2 on the grid and finished P5. It's a very dignified result, and maybe something he's trying to say to us when he says that starting from pole is a very good place to start a race is that if you're racing from the front, maybe it's easier for some riders to really get ahead and not have to battle their way through the pack. Some riders don't have that so much of an issue, but at this level, in this class, it could be very difficult. Unai Radje was also a winner here last year. I mean, he's a fantastic rider as well. The Spaniard really going to be one to watch this year.
Yeah, very versatile. He's got plenty of experience in the World Supersport categories. As you can see, wet race still being declared for Moto2. Weather has been less than ideal across the weekend here in the north of Portugal. But just going back onto Unai Radje, we've seen him in World Supersport. We've seen him in Moto E, Moto2 as well. So he's had some experience at the Moto2 World Championship level. Race winner now in the class. He will fancy his shot at a championship here, as will the rider on screen, Alberto Ferrandis.
Yeah, absolutely. Ferrandis is really one to watch this year.
Yeah, picked up his win in Aragon in 2024. But just a very talented rider. He's one of the younger riders on the grid, but I think it's now his third season in the class, and we often said he loved a charge from deep to pick up a P3. Roberto Garcia then, your reigning European champion. The Spaniard starts fourth. Great memories here in Estoril last year. He took that breakthrough win in race 2 in conditions that are not too dissimilar to this, Connor.
Yeah, absolutely. And that experience is really going to be something that works in his favour. I mean, he's a fantastic rider, and if he's been here before in similar conditions, then it'd be very difficult to count him out ahead of this first race here in the Moto2 European Championship in Estoril. One of two for us to enjoy, and definitely Roberto Garcia, one to watch.
As is Eric Fernandez. That is not Roberto Garcia. We're watching Eric Fernandez, the number 4, a rider who's cut his teeth in the Stock European Championship, the FAO 55 TY racing rider. He finished second in that championship in 2023. Progressed onto the Moto2 category last season. A stream of steady results for Fernandez, but he hasn't quite made that breakthrough to compete with the top riders in recent years. But you would have to say he is certainly a growing threat in this class, and it would not be a surprise to see him on the podium, not just once, but perhaps a number of occasions.
I would be surprised, however, to see all these fans that we've got coming out here despite the weather. I mean, the sun is coming out a bit more now and it's clearing up, but at the beginning of the day it was looking very, very grim, I think it's fair to say, with those looming, menacing clouds as I described them earlier. But we are seeing people out here for the FIM JuniorGP World Championship race day here in Estoril.
Yeah, wonderful to see the fans coming in their droves to watch the next generation of talent. Let's hope that Connor has not put the commentator's curse on the weather. We've already seen him strike once or twice today. I'm sure we'll see him strike once or twice more across the campaign.
I'd like to make it clear that I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just looking through the window at the clouds.
Well, let's get back to the track action. So we had a look. Harrison Voigt then, he's of Cardoso Racing, joining Roberto Garcia and the team this year. He's starting from 6th. 7th, Milan Polovic, with Johan Gimber and Marco Tapia on the 3rd row. Again, riders who have plenty of experience in this class, but haven't quite battled towards the front of proceedings, and will hope that 2025 can be their campaign to get onto the podium on a regular basis. It is a field stacked with quality and recognizable names. For those of you who have followed the World Championship, we've seen Alberto Sura. He's starting P11. He was in the title fight here last season. Jabi Zuratuta moves to Moto2 European Championship. He was a full-time rider on the Moto3 trail last season. And then, of course, the likes of Dani Munoz, 3-time race winner. He's starting 15th today.
Here we do have the starting grid then. Mongiaro with that first pole position, followed by Unai Radre and Ferrandez. Behind them on row 2, it's Garcia, Fernandez. Always important to make sure we distinguish between those two. And Harrison Voigt. On row 3 is Pavelek, Limbert, and Margot Tapia. Behind them, Gutierrez, Sura, and Zurutuza. On row 5, we've got Cruces, Yambias, Munoz. On row 6, Morosi, Palomera, and Mayor. On row 7, it's more Watley, a familiar face to some people who watched Moto3 as well. Kersevan, Ruiz, Feyon, and Volpi, they make up row 8. And on row 9, Alcubaisi, Lolly, and Uriostegui. And then on row 10, Eisenkolb, Emmanuel, Mihaila, Jimenez, and Somariva on row 11.
Some recognizable names across the field then. One I forgot to mention just prior is Oscar Gutierrez, who we saw in the Moto2 World Championship last season. Just missed out in the title in the end after very much impressing. So Gutierrez certainly one to watch on the GV Racing Moto2 machine. The number 99 starts 10th in race 1 here. So away we go then on the warm-up lap. Connor, it's going to be another exciting one, and those menacing clouds look to have abated somewhat. I see
somewhat, I think is the word, somewhat.
We must note that we've been here since Friday, checking out the track, and it's just been nothing but rain. So actually,
a deluge
of rain, as so eloquently put. But it's wonderful to see the sun actually sneaking through. The track is drying. Look at that, yeah. Blue skies, you would never have noticed.
Wonderful. Let's leave the commentary box and go do a few rounds of golf, eh?
Yeah. Well, look, the weather is drying up, which should make for some great racing here in Moto2. But it did rain yesterday in qualifying, and that's perhaps why you're seeing some of the bigger names in the class a little further down in the field. So we could expect some charges from mid-pack. I'm looking at like Dani Munoz is starting 15th on the grid, a 3-time race winner in Moto2. We've seen him in Moto2 World Championship level as well.
Yeah.
And he will be among the title favourites, you would have to imagine, in 2025 for the European Championship here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the conditions really were difficult yesterday. I think for every class, and Moto2 is not excluded from that. It was very tough. I mean, there was a lot of rain, and then periods where it didn't seem to rain so much, and then all of a sudden, it was just water pouring out of the sky at such a rate that it was quite incredible. Something else I think we should note as well is there are a few familiar faces for those of us who were watching stock last year. I mean, it's great to see that riders who do well in that class progress through and get to this Moto2 European Championship. I mean, the likes of Demis Mihaila, who this year is racing as a Romanian, and of course, Mare Mayor, who is the stock champion.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Dani Munoz, the stock champion 2023. Moving on to bigger, better things in Moto2 European Championship, Moto2 World Championship. Yeah, Borja Jimenez also in there. So it's good to see that the route is working for the riders. Okay then, 17 laps of Moto2 fun await us. The red flag still out front. It is a wet race, but I tell you what, the sun is now beating down on track. This is going to be fun, Connor. Francesco Mongiaro starting on pole position for the very first time in his career. Unai Oradre, a Moto2 European Championship winner alongside him, and Alberto Ferrandez on the front row. Who will take the pole shot? Brilliant start, Mongiaro. Even better start for Ferrandez. Has Ferrandez got up the inside? Brilliant from the FIM Network XCI Bosco Scuro team rider Ferrandez. Absolutely sensational launch from the line. Eric Fernandez off to a flyer as well. Mongiaro has been relegated to third. Oradre down into fourth. Voigt has moved up one into fifth with Roberto Garcia, the reigning European champion, in sixth. But look at this start already from Fernandez. He's opening up the gap. He's got 0.4 of a second over Eric Fernandez. So it's Fernandez, and Unai Oradre.
Absolutely sensational from Alberto Ferrandez there. There's a reason why he's so highly regarded, not just in this paddock, but I think in the World Championship paddock as well. He's definitely one to watch because there is a big future ahead of Alberto Ferrandis.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Ferrandis. One to watch. Still a very young rider. He's taken plenty of success in this class. Can he string a podium charge together, a victory charge I should say here together, and indeed a title charge in 2025. So early stages, Alberto Ferrandis is leading Eric Fernandez as we come through the third sector. Oradre Monjaro in third, Monjaro the pole sitter in fourth, as Oradre now quite lowly third, even though there's only a couple tenths either side of him, but it is already opening up the field. Let's keep an eye on some of the bigger name riders that we expect to charge through the field.
Oh!
And we've got a
big high side. Big high side there. I mean, that was so tough to watch. I mean, he's getting up, he looks absolutely fine, but what frustration there for...
So it's Roberto Garcia, I think, who has gone down, one of the Cardoso racers. Ferrandis now, he slipped back into second position, but it's Eric Fernandez who had the lead, but Fernandez strikes back going into turn one. So indeed, sorry, it's not Roberto Garcia, it's Harrison Vogt who has crashed out of a top six finish, top six place already. Disappointment for the Australian. He'd be looking to string a good run of form together in the early season to really help his cause in this year's championship. So that is a less than ideal start for the number 29.
Yeah, frustrating for the Australian there. We can see the confirmation. Had to crash at turn 12, the penultimate corner of this Estoril circuit, and he's going to be so disappointed with that. I mean, he'd done so well over the course of practice and qualifying, and yeah, just look at that. It's a nasty one, isn't it? Yeah. It's great to see him getting up straight away after that. Hopefully just more frustrated with his own...
Flip the full 360 over the front of that bike. So disappointing start to the season for Vogt, but hopefully and thankfully he looks okay. Hopefully he will be back stronger for race 2. But we focus now on the battle for the lead. It's Alberto Ferrandis who leads Eric Fernandez in the opening exchanges here as we're about to clock off another lap, the second lap. The first two laps have very much belonged to Ferrandis, the Spaniard, starting third on the grid, and he has fired off into the distance with Eric Fernandez. Fernandez though looks to have a little bit better drive here. Is he going to make a move up the inside into turn one? A 140.834 from Fernandez. Sees him lead over the line. Fernandez doesn't opt for that move and stays stuck to the rear tyre of the Moto2 FIM network. Bosco Escuro machine.
I have to keep an eye on Adrian Cruzes as well because he's progressed incredibly well. I think he's moved up 7 positions so far in this race. So that's very interesting, very much one to watch, despite the fact that we are going to be locked into this battle at the front between Ferrandis and Fernandez.
Yeah, Ferrandis in 140.834, the best lap of the race. Number 89, Demis Mihaela. He has a long lap penalty coming his way, and he's just received notification that he may serve it, but Mihaela down in 22nd position at the moment and well outside of the points. So disappointment for the Romanian rider, making his first appearance as a full-time rider in this class.
He did actually receive a penalty earlier as well, so had to start from the back of the grid. So he's actually made decent progress. I mean, I think in his box he'll be thinking, well, he knows what he's doing at this level, he can really progress through the pack, but yeah, he'll be frustrated by that long lap penalty.
Absolutely for Mihaela, but it's an opportunity to learn and to improve for the future races for the Romanian riders. So this battle for the lead continues. Just 0.2 of a second separating Ferrandis and Fernandez, both chasing a maiden win in Estoril. Unai Oradre, victorious last season in the Moto2 European Championship, sits in third position. Fernandez then tucked in on the rear of the number 54 of Ferrandis. Is he going to make the move? You could see he was tempted. He had a little look, but he just locked up the front and decided to check it and wait for a better opportunity when the door opens.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time to make that move. There's absolutely nothing between Ferrandis and Fernandez at the time being. Oradre is narrowing that gap though. He's just set the new best race lap. It's 140.285, so that's the best lap so far that we've seen as conditions improve here in Estoril, and everyone's watching on very, very eagerly to see exactly what's going to happen. But that gap between third and second is coming down, Chris.
Yeah, some nervous faces in the FIM network box. Oh, all right. So Ferrandis then, still in the lead here. He's opened up the gap, has he? Just a little bit to, still hovering around the 2/10 mark. So nothing significant as Eric Fernandez has dropped maybe a bike length off. Facundo Yambias then, the number 94 from Uruguay. He's out of today's running, debuting in the Moto2 class after some stellar performances in the JuniorGP category in recent years. So Yambias out of this one. False start, number 82. So disappointment coming the way of reigning stock champion Mario Mayor. He's got a double long lap penalty coming his way, currently running in 15th position. He will have to drop further down the running order. 54 versus 4. It's been like this now for a couple of laps. Fernandez on a couple of occasions has looked up the inside of the back straight, maybe for a move into turn 1. Nothing coming this time around. Unai Oradre now riding in a very lonely third place, as is reigning European champion Roberto Garcia in 4th. You called it, Connor. Adrian Cruces is on the charge here. He is now up into 6th position and all over the rear wheel of the pole sitter Francesco Mongiardo.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful so far from Adrian Cruces as he makes this debut in the class. He's been picked up very cleverly by the FIM network team, and he could be in with a chance of a podium finish here. I mean, the gap is quite big, but Oradre has been slowing down a bit. Maybe that's something that he can take advantage of, but for the time being, that gap is just, well, it appears insurmountable, but you can never say never in this sport. There's Roberto Garcia, the reigning champion, and he's now set the new best race lap of 139.775. So, I mean, the laps are getting faster and faster as this race goes on.
Yeah, we saw that without giving too much away of the ETC, but naturally, a drying track, we saw riders go faster and faster, but we saw some tricky conditions as well to navigate between the wet, from wet to dry, and some riders struggle to master the mixed conditions and fall victim and crash out of contention without giving too much away. Now, we're looking mid-pack here, a bunch of riders. I think it is Oscar Gutierrez and Danny Munoz who lead that group of riders. Danny Munoz started 15th, 3-time race winner in this class. He's now up to 7th as we watch what has been the story of the race so far. Ferrandis leading Fernandez, but with very little between them. Fernandez keeps looking like he wants to make that move up the inside, but Fernandez just showing a bit of racecraft to go a more defensive line and block any potential move from behind him.
Yeah, as they go into this third corner, followed by the fourth. I mean, it's such a difficult one to navigate, but he's going to be biding his time because he knows that he can. He's been there for the entire race. He's matching the pace of the leader, Fernandez. So really, Eric Fernandez is just going to wait for the opportune moment. Maybe it's not in his interest right now to be leading the race, but I have the sensation that when he wants to be ahead, he will be.
Yeah, it's very much tit for tat on the lap times. Nothing separating them, and as you can see across the track, there are still some wet patches, so it's pretty much dried off, I would hesitate to say, but there are still some wet patches there as Roberto Garcia reels off another fastest lap of the race by some distance. It's a low 139, so he is running in 4th position. He's got 4.5 seconds to make up on Unai Oradre, but he had 7/10 in his back pocket that time on Unai Oradre. So the battle for third far from over with, what, 11.5 laps still remaining. But as you were out front, Fernandez over Fernandez, 0.3 of a second that has opened up to, but that won't be for long. Over the line we go again. Let's check out the lap times. Indeed, had Fernandez finally make that move up the inside. He's over the white line, nearly touching the pit wall, and Eric Fernandez finally makes that move. We could see he had been lining that up for the past 3 or 4 laps. And now Eric Fernandez, the number 4 of FAO 55 TUI Racing, leads the race.
I do think that both Unai Radre and Roberto Garcia are going to be so frustrated that it took them a bit longer to get going here, because now they're the only riders in the 139s alongside Eric Fernandez and Alberto Ferrandis, and that's going to be so frustrating for them.
It looked like Fernandez had just lost it a little bit there, but all okay, and he is safely through turn 6. So, Unai Radre then, Connor, he is running a lonely third place. Lonely third place for Roberto Garcia, but he is gaining. We're keeping an eye on those lap times. Radre and Garcia pretty much matching one another last time around and through the first 2 sectors. But Garcia is still reeling off the fastest lap of the race. That's 3 consecutive fastest laps for him. You would imagine with the sun now fully out and, dare I say, blue skies, Connor.
Dare you?
Dare I say. I even had to close the window of the commentary box, pull the blind down, the sun was coming in. Who would have thought this? All eyes then on Roberto Garcia for the moment, the reigning champion. He's riding in 4th position, just keeping an eye on the times between himself and Radre. It's still over 4 seconds as we have a yellow flag in sector 3, Connor. That's behind the leading group. We'll bring you an update of what happened there once we see a replay. It looks like it could be Christian Lolly who has gone down.
Is the move coming now? It is! Alberto Ferrandis sees his lead. He's getting able to make it stick. He's not. Oh! And Fernandez is back ahead. Well, he bided his time and made the leap and wasn't able to make it stick. That's going to be so frustrating.
Yeah, very frustrating now. The front 2 have changed hands once again. Ferrandis running it wide at turn 1. It's great to see battle at the front already. So we saw Fernandez make the move, but Ferrandis is not happy to sit in behind here.
Quick look back.
He's going to have that hot air coming in on that front tire of his. So Fernandez wants to be out in front, as does Ferrandis. So it looks like neither of these riders are going to settle to be riding in 2nd place. Ferrandis has closed that gap right up again as we go around turn 6, and through he goes. Fernandez just running it a little bit wide, and it's the 54 of Ferrandis who profits. Unai Radre has now come into contention. He has really closed the gap on these two. It's 7/10 of a second on them last time around. And
Mario Mayor's down.
Mario Mayor has down. Frustration for Mayor, who is going a double long lap penalty. His day has just gotten worse after a false start. So this 2-way fight for the victory is not a 2-way fight anymore by the looks of things. Unai Radre has picked up brilliant pace over the last lap and a half and is closing fast on the front 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the front 2 had finally begun this battle, trading blows, and we just see what happened exactly there to Mario Mayor. He's in the gravel trap, and then he goes down. Very, very frustrating as he looked to complete that long lap penalty.
Yeah, disappointment for Mayor. Now, are we going to see a move here? Fernandez is tucked in behind Ferrandis this time round, but Radre, all this fighting at the front means there's great opportunity for Radre. Don't forget, don't count out Roberto Garcia just yet either, because he has reeled off consecutive fastest laps over the last few times coming over the start-finish line, and he is now very much in contention as we watch Alberto Surra make a move on Dani Munoz.
Yeah, another fantastic ride, Alberto Surra.
Or indeed, it was on, it wasn't on Dani Munoz at all. Dani Munoz is running ahead. Marco Tapia.
Now it's on Dani Munoz.
Okay, Surra making shapes as well. So
predicting the future, Chris.
I know. I do what I can. So, back out front, and Ferrandis has opened up a bit of a gap here. This is a bit of a surprise because both of these were going tit for tat in the lap times recently, and we saw Unai Radre closing the gap, but Ferrandis has had enough and has pulled the pin. He's got half a second now over Eric Fernandez in 2nd place. Radre still over a second behind the front 2.
He is still the fastest rider on this circuit at the moment. We touched on it earlier, the front 4 really ought to be closer together because they're all in the 139s, but it is Radre who's been the fastest with a 139.310, so he'll be frustrated not to be closer.
Oh, it looks like Roberto Garcia has crashed out. I see his name tumbling down the timing screens as he was setting. His name is still going down. So Garcia was chasing a podium in 4th position, but he, as you can see, is no longer in the picture. It's Fernandez and Radre is a top 3, and they are running away with the podium.
The victory fight still to be decided, but the top three looks like it's going to be these three unless something dramatic happens over the final 7.5 laps.
Which in this Moto2 European Championship is not out of the question whatsoever. I mean, we've just seen the reigning champion go down there, so...
Yeah, Garcia was setting an incredible pace. He'd reeled off consecutive fastest laps for a number of laps, and it looks like it just became too much to handle there as we look at Jonan Eisenkoltz getting lapped here. Just needs to step out of the way of the oncoming riders. He's got Unai Rodre and Monjardo behind him, or indeed Monjardo is 17 seconds off the podium. So there we have confirmation. The number 31 reigning Moto2 European champion Roberto Garcia is now out of race 1. We'll bring you a replay of that when we can, but what that has done, it means now the top three are in a world of their own. Francesco Monjardo runs in 4th place. The pole sitter just did not have the pace. He had the 1 lap pace, does not have the race pace at all to go with the 3 fastest riders today. Milan Paulic, Adrian Cruces, Alberto Sura, Xabi Zuratutza and Dani Munoz with Marco Tapia complete the top 10.
It's great to see Zuratutza running up there in the top 10. He's in P8 for the time being on that American racing machine, but the transition to a Moto2 is a difficult one, and it seems
for sure.
Very well.
For a rider who's been basically on Moto3 machinery for the past few years. He went to jump up to the World Championship last season. Had a solid season, but he was in the Red Bull KTM IO squad where expectations are very high. But Zuratutza is a very talented rider. We've seen him in the JuniorGP circuit for a number of years. He's the 100th JuniorGP winner as well. Different winner, race winner. So that came down in Portimao. I had the pleasure of commentating on it that day, so it stuck with me. But a hugely talented rider. Another rider who's made the move to Moto2 this year from JuniorGP. It's Adrian Cruces, and unfortunately for Cruces, the pit lane sign has popped up beside his name on our timing screens, meaning he is now out of the race. Huge disappointment for the FIM Network Bosco Oscuro team rider. He had charged from mid-pack to get himself into the top 5 and looked on for a strong point-scoring position.
Yeah, P13 to P5. It's been an excellent run so far from Adrian Cruces, so I'll be very interested to find out exactly what went wrong for the young Spaniard there, because he'd been incredibly impressive running there at P5. Very unfortunate for the...
It's double disaster for the FIM Network team. Alberto Ferrandez has crashed out of the race. The race leader had built up a 1 second advantage. This is a disaster. Oh, you can see the frustration. The victory was there for him with just over 6 laps to go. He goes down at turn 12.
Dismay in the FIM Network box.
It just, wow, what a terrible few moments for the team. Adrian Cruces, having a wonderful ride, had to pit through no fault of his own by the looks of things. And here we go. His teammate, the race leader, spinning it left at turn 12. Gone. Just losing. Front end washout. Good night, Irene, for Alberto Ferrandez. You can see how furious he is. Such a talented rider, and he was on for victory here. But what that does now, Eric Fernandez is on for his first ever victory in the Moto2 European Championship, and he's got a 2.5 second advantage over Unai Rodre. And hold the phone, Connor. Milan Paulic could be getting a podium. The Polish rider, he may be 18 seconds behind the race leader, but now that group are fighting for a podium.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the great aspects of the sport, the unpredictability of it. I mean, anything can happen at any level, and we've seen that just now with the race leader crashing out with just 7 laps to go. Absolutely wonderful news for Milan Paulic, because even 18 seconds behind, he's now in a position where he might find himself in P3 and on that rostrum.
You'd have to say it's as good an opportunity as he may get. The rookie rider, another rider stepping up to the Moto2 class this year. And Paulic, he is quite a bit, 18 seconds behind, and a battle with Monjardo, Stura. Dani Munoz is lurking there as well. But with riders of the quality of Stura, Zuratutza, Munoz, Oscar Gutierrez starting further down due to the mixed conditions in qualifying,
you would have to imagine this is as good as a chance Pawlic will have. So we're watching a little bit further back here. The number 10 of Unai Oradre, indeed, sorry, he was lapping, is running in second position. He's 3.3 seconds. Here we are, Milan Pawlic running in third position. He's ahead of Francesco Mongiardo. Does he know he is in third position? Surely he will now at this point.
Someone's got to tell him, because that is absolutely incredible. But if I was Adrian Cruzes and his team right now, I would be kicking myself that something has gone wrong, because this could have been absolutely sensational for them as well. It looks like right now it's Milan Pawlic who's going to be taking advantage of it, but it could change at any point in time with Francesco Mongiardo coming up behind as well.
Yeah, you would have to imagine you'd have to think what the mood is in the FIM network box right now.
I would not like to be there.
Adrian Cruzes and Alberto Ferrandis both gone in a matter of seconds.
Joshua Watley,
disappointment for the British rider then. He was on for a decent point scoring position, running inside the top 10 as he makes the move into the Moto2 European Championship with Cardoso Racing. Here we'll have a little look at what's wrong, a little shake coming in, just never got it stopped in turn 1. Well, you can see there even a little bit of a stoppy before he hits the gravel. Does he go down? I think with the marshal there helping him, he must fall. We don't see it there. But now, out front, Eric Fernandez. Can we handle any more drama in this race, Connor? I don't think my heart can handle it. He's got a 4-second advantage. But God, just as I say, Milan Pawlic has gone wide.
Chris. My word, more drama? You wanted more drama? This is Moto2 European Championship. Drama is going to be delivered from start to finish. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Disaster for Pawlic. He was running in P3.
Well, Mongiardo, that pole position is now looking like it's going to be converted into a podium.
If there's anything I've learned, we need to stop speaking for the sake of the riders here at the chicane, left to right. Just front end washout for Pawlic. Oh, that is absolutely gutting for the Polish rider. He was in third position, 18 seconds off the lead, but given the crashes ahead of him of Roberto Garcia, Alberto Ferrandis, an unexpected podium opened up for him. Now he has rejoined the race and will try and gather as much data over the remaining 4 laps. But what that means, as Connor says, pole sitter Mongiardo is now running in third position, but he has got Alberto Sura of Andafer American Racing on his tail, as is Sura's teammate Juratutsa just a little further behind. 3 laps to go. Who knows what's going to happen?
No, absolutely no one at this level, and it's really interesting to see how well the Andafer American Racing team are doing here, because that is absolutely sensational. I mean, we've mentioned it briefly before, the initiative that they're trying to expand, and they're doing incredibly well. I mean, they've got 2 fantastic riders in the form of Xabi Zurutuza and Alberto Sura there, so that's very, very good news for them.
Yeah, hugely encouraging start, particularly if one of their riders can get themselves onto the podium. But top 5 finishes on debut for the team. It's a pretty encouraging start, you would have to say. So, eyes on Eric Fernandez. We can see Joshua Watley just in front of him, the number 70, who just crashed and rejoined. Unai Oradre then, his love affair with Estoril looks set to continue. Another podium in the offing for Oradre. He's riding quite lonely there. Of course, he took a race win here in the Moto2 European Championship at the end of last season. He also has one in Catalonia to his name. So, another podium.
Sura's up to P3.
Yeah, Sura has made the move as we watch Eric Fernandez just getting the better of Joshua Watley there. Watley moving out of the way. He's now a lapped rider, having crashed and rejoined the race. So in the battle for third position, the number 67, Alberto Sura, a race winner in this class, of course, and a title contender in 2024. There we can see the American racing machine now in third position. So Sura starting deeper on the grid, and look, 20 seconds behind the race leader is not what he would have envisioned ahead of the weekend, but a podium nonetheless. Is 16 crucial points in race 1. He looked to pick up some more crucial points in race 2 as he hopes to stitch together another title challenge in 2025.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing at this point. I mean, you know where you are in the race, you know you're not going to finish on the top spot of the podium, but if you can be mature enough to finish and claim those points are going to be valuable at the end of the race. Right now you've got all the adrenaline coursing through your veins and you want to be winning, but in the event that isn't really that possible, nothing's impossible, of course, as we've seen already in this race. But if you finish the race, you get the points, and it's a war of attrition. It's a marathon, not a sprint in the Moto2 European Championship.
Yeah, the battle for third, though, a far way from over, as we can see Monjardo making a move on the outside, but Sura does have that inside line coming into the right-hander turn 1, but Monjardo still fancies a chance on the outside. Will he get the inside line coming through 2 and 3? He does indeed, but Sura, look, not giving up without a fight. Back up the inside, the Italian goes over his compatriot and pole sitter. So it is Sura who holds on to third position, but not for long. Oh my word, another faller here. Eric Fernandez out of the lead. What is happening in this race? I'm lost for words.
No one
the
wants to win.
second race leader out at turn 6. Eric Fernandez out of the race. Unai Oradre, the new race leader. And now that battle between Monjardo and Sura for third is a battle for second.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. That turn 6 is really...
I'm lost for words, Connor. I'm lost for words.
Difficult for riders at this point. I mean, it's a very difficult left-hander. You need to be so focused at all points in time, and you just see exactly what happens there. He just loses
the curb.
a bit. Yeah, touch the curb.
Oh, and the front of that bike.
Oh, and look at that as well.
Wow, wow, wow. That is a bizarre and unusual crash at best. Out of the lead goes Eric Fernandez, and I'm lost for words. We've lost Eric Fernandez, Alberto Ferrandis, both from the lead. Roberto Garcia blew his podium potential, running in 4th position, but given the events that unfolded in front of him, he could have been the race leader. Adrian Cruces, charged from deep on the field, was inside the top 4.
But we don't know exactly what happened. We have to find out what happened there to Cruces. But then there was Powerlek as well, who was gifted
Milan Powerlek
P3.
out of 3rd
Gifted.
position. Oh, wow. And now, speaking of gifts, Unai Oradre on the last lap, Connor, sorry, but he must be wondering what is happening. Unai Oradre has been gifted a victory here. I don't want to say he has the victory because God knows what can happen over the next few corners.
Absolutely anything. Absolutely
Unai
anything can
Oradre,
happen.
he's just coming through the back straight. The battle for second here is Francesco Monjardo versus Alberto Sura. Sura looking for a move up the inside. Pole sitter Monjardo, though, holds on. These riders are 13 seconds behind the race leader. Unai Oradre just safely through turn 6, we can see on our timing screens.
Well, if he's past turn 6,
let's not say anything.
That's why I didn't continue.
It's been a hugely dramatic
the reason
day.
I did not continue.
Okay, so eyes on the battle for second right now, which is led by the pole sitter Francesco Monjardo, Alberto Sura of American and the For Racing team in 3rd position, with Xabi Zuratucha on debut in 4th. Out front, though, it is the number 10 of Unai Oradre coming through the final corner. Parabolica, Ayrton Senna, and Oradre has taken a victory here in Estoril before. He's about to add another. He comes streaming by the commentary box. Unai Oradre is your race 1 winner from Estoril. Second place looks like it's going the way of Francesco Monjardo. Indeed it is. The number 49 navigates the final corner safely. 67, Alberto Sura takes a podium. Xabi Zuratucha in 4th. Danny Munoz from 15th on the grid takes P5. I am at a loss for words. I don't know how to describe that race, Connor. I'm going to have to defer to your knowledge here.
Well, I'll go down to Parc Fermé now, and I'll tell you exactly how they're living it, because I think the riders are the ones that have really experienced this in the most incredible way. Heart-stopping from start to finish. So many race leaders going down. I mean, did anyone want to win? Well, Unai Oradre did, and you can see how much it means to him. I'll be speaking to him very, very shortly, but look at that emotion there.
So, Connor, make your way down to Parc Fermé. Try get us some reaction, because that is one of the most bizarre races I've seen in motorsport racing. It's Unai Oradre's day. He was riding for P3 for the majority of the race, but then Eric Fernandez and Alberto Ferrandis both crashing out of the lead under very little pressure. Alberto Ferrandis had built up a 1 second advantage out front and just crashed out of contention. With just a couple laps to go, Eric Fernandez was cruising in 1st place, and he crashed out, handing a 3rd career victory in the Moto2 European Championship to Unai Oradre. Celebrations too in the and for American Racing Team for the number 67 and indeed the number 85. But Alberto Sura is the rider on the podium, finishing 11 seconds off. And it looked like he was in a battle for 6th or 7th place, and then all of a sudden he's in P3. Celebrations too, well, on one side of the FAO 55 TUI racing box, because Eric Fernandez crashed out, but pole sitter Francesco Mongiardo had no such problems. And look at those celebrations, a first ever podium for the Moto2 European Championship rider. Speechless after such a thrilling, dramatic, unbelievable, scarcely believable race here in Estoril. But celebrations all the same for Francesco Mongiardo. Brilliant result for him, as it is for Unai Oradre. Oradre will want to stitch together a title challenge in 2025. Now a 3-time race winner in the class. The number 10 jumps to the championship lead after the opening event of 2025. Big celebrations then as he rolls through pit lane and into Parc Fermé. Estoril, truly a track Oradre loves. Another victory here in the Portuguese circuit. So, riders will go in, get their technical checks, and then the celebrations will truly begin. A brilliant debut as well for American Racing in the Moto2 European Championship, part of a new initiative from the American Racing Team, which we see on the Moto2 World Championship stage. And here we go. The celebrations begin in full flow for Francesco Mongiardo, the pole sitter, converting that into a P2. His first podium in the class. Out comes Unai Oradre then. Big hugs from his team, the Team Chiatti Bosco Scuro. Debriefing the race. So let's just take a little listen in. Big congratulations all around down in Parc Fermé. American Racing then making their debut in the class. Alberto Sura delivering a podium. Hugs all around for Alberto Sura then. Brilliant result for the Italian rider. We'll bring you a run through of the results. Chapisura Tuta coming fourth. Danny Munoz from 15th on the grid charged to 5th. Marco Tapia, Oscar Gutierrez inside the top 7 as we take a look at how the race was won. So this was a battle for the lead. All across the opening lap, Ferrandez and Fernandez were in a class of their own. They opened up a gap to Unai Oradre in 3rd position. But then Fernandez, just out of nowhere, crashing. He had a 1 second advantage and rolls through the gravel trap. And then a bizarre crash for Eric Fernandez. It looks like maybe the front wheel locked up in the front of his bike. Coming off, you can see the absolute disappointment as he was denied a maiden podium and indeed a maiden win in the class. Handing in a 3rd win to the number 10 of Unai Oradre as he beats his chest. And we're going to hear from Unai Oradre, who is with Conor Doherty down below in Parc Fermé.
Unai, it's quite difficult to believe that the first race this season was that exciting. You lived it. First race, first win. How does it feel?
Yeah, it was a very, very difficult race. The first part of the track was dry and the last part was wet. So I say, okay, I finished the race. I try to be calm, to take as much as possible points for the championship, and finally I have the victory. So thanks to all the job of the team, Bosco Oscuro, first race with this bike, and first victory is incredible, so let's see.
And in Spanish, please.
Bueno, ha sido una carrera muy difícil, había una parte del circuito que estaba seca, otra en mojado, y desde el primer momento he tratado de mantener la calma, coger los máximos puntos posibles, y poco a poco los rivales se iban eliminando, estaba la pista muy complicada, y al final me he hecho con la victoria. Primera carrera con Bosco Oscuro, con el equipo Chiati, súper contento y muchas gracias a todos. Vamos a por la segunda.
Congratulations.
A look then on how Unai Oradre took a dramatic victory in race 1 in the Moto2 European Championship in Estoril. It was Alberto Ferrandez and Eric Fernandez who charged into the lead from the opening lap with the duo exchanging moves. We lost Harrison Vogt early on. Big crash for the Australian. Ferrandez then made a move past Eric Fernandez at the opening corner for the lead. Unai Oradre running in third position. Roberto Garcia was in fourth, but Garcia, the reigning champion, crashed out of contention around the midway stage. The battle at the front continued between Fernandez and Ferrandez. Ferrandez striking back at the opening corner and beginning to open up an advantage. Indeed, it was actually at turn 6 Ferrandez made his move, and he started to open the advantage past Fernandez, but Ferrandez, unfortunately, didn't see the checkered flag. Holding a 1 second advantage, he crashed out of contention, handing the lead to Eric Fernandez. Frustration for the number 54, but more frustration was soon to follow for the number 4. Eric Fernandez held a commanding advantage, while Milan Pawlik, the Polish rider, sat in third position, but crashed out at the left to right chicane. Unai Oradre was running in second position, but that soon became first position when Eric Fernandez crashed out. While the battle for third went between, here we see a bizarre crash for Eric Fernandez, and then the battle for third became the battle for second. Unai Oradre romped home to a comfortable victory, but it was Francesco Mongiardo, the pole sitter, against Alberto Sura in a battle for second. Mongiardo taking the victory against Sura, and Unai Oradre taking race 1 victory.
Para o terceiro lugar do pódio, Alberto Sura.
So Alberto Sura returns to the Moto2 European Championship podium in the season opener. While debuting on the rostrum, it's the pole sitter, Francesco Mongiardo. And making a habit of standing on the top step in Estoril, it's Unai Oradre. So the trophies being handed out. A moment these riders, of course, will never forget.
Ao segundo classificado, Francesco Mongiardo, e também ao vencedor da corrida.
Mongiardo handed his trophy by Nissan Camara, the circuit representative, as is our race winner, Unai Oradre.
Ao hino de Espanha.
And now time for the Spanish national anthem.
E porque já são maiores de 18 anos, vamos à cerimónia do Prosecco.
Absolutely incredible performance, and speaking to him earlier, he was saying just how important it was to just keep going. He was in the battle for third at one point, and he just maintained his perseverance. And in the end, it's paid off, and paid off fully. He'll be absolutely thrilled. His third win in the Moto2 European Championship. And now, as the podium trio spray that champagne, they know that it was all worthwhile. Very difficult conditions, but these three came out on top. And you can see exactly what it means to them there. We'll be seeing the standings very shortly, but that man, Unai Aradre, has taken his first win of the season. And what a win it was. Unai Aradre with his new team, Chiati Bosco Escuri team. After that, it was Francesco Mongiaro, our pole sitter, followed by Alberto Sorra, Xavi Soroturza, Daniel Munoz, Marco Tapia, Oscar Gutierrez, Milan Pavolek, who at one point was in third, and Alessandro Morosi finishing in P9. They were followed by Yeray Ruiz, Enej Cresevan, Borja Jimenez, Lorenzo Feon, Josh Watley, Lorenzo Somariva, Abdullah Al-Kubaisi, and Rossi Attila Moore. Then we had Jeffrey Emanuel, Jonah Eisenkolb, Francisco J. Palomera, Juanpi Uriostegui, Christian Lolli, and out! Eric Fernandez from the lead, Mattia Volpi and Alberto Ferrandez also from the lead. Absolutely incredible how many riders we saw go down. Adrian Cruzes as well, Roberto Garcia, Joan Gimbert, Mario Mayor, Demis Mihaila, Facundo Yambias and Harrison Ford also unable to finish this race one in Estoril in the Moto2 European Championship. We'll see very shortly the championship standings as they are after race one. And what a race it was. Here we are then, Unai Aradre leading with those 25 points, very well deserved. Mongiaro just behind with 20. Alberto Sorra is third, and Xavi Soroturza on his debut, as well as Daniel Munoz. They are fourth and fifth. Marco Tapia is sixth. Oscar Gutierrez in seventh. Milan Pavolek in eighth. And Alessandro Morosi in ninth. Yeray Ruiz in 10th. Enej Cresevan in 11th. Borja Jimenez 12th. Lorenzo Feon in 13th. Josh Watley 14th. And Lorenzo Somariva in 15th. Well, what a race and what a ride from Unai Aradre. He bided his time and did it so well with the conditions so difficult to manage. He was the rider who was able to manage them best, and with that, he claimed his first win of the season, his third in the class, and it looks like he's on to great things in this 2025 campaign.